for this
Are
show.
you curious about bodies, pleasure, and possibilities? And what about curious about what others are up to on the planet when it comes to pleasure, sex, and play? Have you considered what pleasure can do for your life, your body, and your bank account? Do you know something magical, delightful, and out of this world orgasmic is not only possible for you, but totally available to you? If you're ready to be the magical, sexual, sexy beast you know you can be, and you just need the tools to get there, you're in the right place. Now, here's the host of The Pleasure Zone, sensual movement artist, relationship and sex alchemist, Milica Jelenic.
Welcome, my sweet pleasure seekers. Tonight we are having a very fun conversation. I know there's quite a few of you listening in the background because I send out some messages, and I don't always do this, but I thought I'll send out some messages to some people who I thought might be interested in this show, who are lots of people are like, whoa, that's fun. I'll be listening to that. So I know there's lots of listeners out there today. And the coolest thing is if you're listening now or in the future, that whatever goes on in this show will be relevant for the moment that you listen to it. So if you're listening and I'm giving you guidance and your body is experiencing something, it's because it's happening. Because you know what? Time is not linear. All right, good stuff. So one of the reasons that I looked at this show to have this show was actually to I was inspired by some conversations I had recently, and I thought some people out there could probably use some new skills and some ideas. So I'm doing this for many people. And also, I've been looking at some of my old titles of my shows and realized, oh, I haven't done a talk on energetic orgasms for a long time. Actually, I think it's been years. I think the last one I did, I had a guest on for it. Maybe I've talked about it since, but not to the experiential level of maybe the how-tos. So we will be talking about that tonight. Before I got on, I was playing with my own energy to get myself a little revved up and ramped up. And some of the things I was doing was running the microcosmic orbit. For those of you who don't know what that is a method of moving the energy in your body through your spine up to your head, collecting it, bringing it down, and bringing it down your body and bringing it down just below your belly button, having all your sexual energy running in your body so that you can use all that energy to do and create with, right? Masturbation is amazing. It can be a great release, and this is another way to get energy moving. So if you're not familiar with it, there is a world-renowned teacher named Mantak Chia. He is a big teacher of the using the microcosmic orbit and doing things like the vaginal qigong. So if you look that up, and also, testicular qigong and all kinds of things, sexual energy qigong. So look that up if you're interested. So there's lots of cool information in and about that. There's more than Mantak Chia out there teaching it. However, he was one of the ones to bring it kind of to the Western people in about the last 40 years. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do to have these energetic orgasms? Do we need to get naked? No, you can if you like, but you don't have to. Most of this show is going to be experiential. So if you are listening and you're busy and you're not able to be present with it, don't worry about that. Come back to this show later when you can be present, or you can listen in the periphery. You might not have exactly the same experience if you're listening in the periphery, like while you're driving, because there'll be times where I'll be asking you to close your eyes. I wanted to kind of give you that first before you dive into the first 10 minutes of the show. And then you're like, wait a minute, I need to close my eyes and experience things. So for those of you who are listening as well, and you're very new to this show, we always talk about things pleasure on this show. And sometimes we talk about things that might be impeding pleasure, which can be things like traumas that we need to heal, or like last week's episode where we talked about, when I had my mom on and we talked about how not to let the abuser win. And I've had several episodes in the last few months, all related to different ways to deal with trauma. So I thought, why not have a little fun now? Let's look at our energy and see what else we can do to have it run differently, to work with it differently, to bring it through our bodies so that we can have a new experience. So if you've never felt energy, we're going to start on the supreme basics of energy. And I bet you didn't even realize that you have experienced energy. I had a really great teacher for Reiki. Her name is Anita Levin. As far as I know, she's still alive and probably in her 90s is my guess. So this is 2023. If you're listening to it in the future, Anita Levin may not be alive anymore. I'm not sure. But one of the things that she said in my very first Reiki class when I was about 20 years old, I think, was she said, everybody has the innate ability to do healing. It's that we don't even know that we're doing it most of the time. And then we can do things, I'm paraphrasing her, but we can cultivate it. And she said that how we know we're naturally inclined to do energy work is that, and touch work, is that generally when people fall or get hurt, they will automatically put their hand where it hurts. It's like we instinctively know that touch can do that. So if touch can do that, what else can we do? So as I played with Reiki and I became, I started to do distance Reiki and I became a Reiki master and all these other things that I did with energetic training. And I started to wonder, if I can send healing to a body, can I also send things like hugs to a body? Can I send, I don't know, blowjobs to a body? What else can I do? Well, the truth is you can actually send anything, but the truth of this too is that just like anything, it's really important that you have permission to do that. So you can absolutely get verbal permission. You can get confirmation from somebody, whether it's written or verbal or whatever. Just like any kind of sex, you would want permission. So I do ask that you don't do this unintentionally. I say that because the first time I knew that I actually pulled this off, I wasn't cognitively aware of it until after the fact. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know if the other person could pick up on it. And then when the other person did pick up on it and called me out on it, they were like, hey, so at this time of day, on this day, at this particular time, and I knew what time it was and I knew what day it was that I was doing this because I looked at a clock and I was like, yeah, at 3 o'clock on that day. Yeah. What do you, they were like, so you knocked me over and made out with me, but you physically knocked me over. And I was like, what? Sorry about that. So I was called out. And it was because I was called out that I realized that I actually have a capacity. And I realized that I needed to ask permission because I didn't actually think that the person could feel it or sense it. I thought it was just like fantasy in my mind. It wasn't. It was totally, strangely, amazingly legit. And I know to this day that it can be strangely, amazingly legit in experience, not just because of that, but because of repeated experiences of being able to do that over and over again, and even to be able to work on people where they can be fully clothed in their bodies, experience orgasms if they're willing to, especially if their body is if they've asked for it and if they're willing to receive it, their bodies will receive it. So energetic orgasms, they can be done from a distance, they can be done in person. Isn't that fun? So we're going to start with how do you do the basics of energy, right? So my body's just kind of revving up. So if you're watching and you're like going, why is she all wiggly? That's just my body getting ready. So if you've never done any energy work before, one of the things you can do is you can rub your hands together so you can kind of get your, not just your blood flow, because there's a physiological response that's going to go on. You can get blood flow going. You're going to just start to warm up your fingertips just to get it revved up. And then if you hold your hands relatively close together, like a centimeter, 2 centimeters apart, you're going to start to notice it's a very subtle energy. It feels magnetic. And then as you start to pull your hands apart, you're going to notice that it gets more magnetic. And then you can pull it more apart. And then you just feel out how far apart does this magnetic stuff go. And you can actually sometimes go feet farther than your hands. So I'm just going to do this to keep it within the screenshot for anybody watching on video. So you have your hands here. So you're sensing, this is what you're doing to begin to sense energy. So you can have your feet on the ground and your focus on your hands. And just sense it. Play with it a little bit, move it back in and forth and back and forth. Cool. So now that you've got that kind of, if you don't feel it, don't worry about it. Keep practicing. I've only been doing this for like my whole life. So sense it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to do other things with it. So once you've got that and you've sensed it and you've got the energy in your hands and you can feel that, I want you to just scan your body, anywhere in your body from your head down to your toes. If there's anywhere that there's pressure or pain, or if you've got any inflammation or something nagging you, it can even be emotional nagging. You can put your hands directly on that. So say if it's like your head and it's like a frontal lobe headache, you could put your hand here. You also want to see if there's another part of your body that corresponds. So you can just track your body and just go like find a spot. So let's say it's like right here. I'm just keeping, I guess my body is just going to show you stuff that's within the screenshot. So you can just hold your hand and just be aware of that, what feels like that pulsating energy that comes off of your own hands and your own body, like a little bit magnetic. And you're just going to sense and feel that, and just keep your hands on your own body. And you can just feel that. Feel what that feels like for a few minutes. Take some deep breaths in, hold that, and just notice, and deep breath in, deep breath out. Keep that energy moving. Get your body to feel relaxed. So one of the ways you can relax your body is breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can do quick breathes in through your nose, like, but for now, we're just going to keep it simple. In through your nose, out through your mouth, hands on those spots. So on the spot that's maybe aggravated or agitated, and then on a spot that's maybe corresponds with it, and just be present with that. So while you're present with that, I just want you to be aware that if you can direct energy to a part that's painful and alleviate that, which you can do, then you can also direct energy to parts that would like to be awakened, enlivened, that can actually be aroused, right? So you could have your hand on your heart, and that energy can fill your heart, and at the same time, it can physically arouse your body. So we're going to move into a space where we can begin to arouse our own bodies with our own energy. I like to start with hand on the heart. So I'm just going to move my camera a little bit, or maybe I'll move back so you can visually see. So when I say hand on the heart, I mean the energetic heart. So in between like your breast, there's like a space there. It's your heart chakra. So you're going to keep your hand on your heart, breathing in and out, just connecting to yourself. So, you can do stuff for pain, we can do stuff for connection. So we're going to start with this connection. Hand on the heart, breathing in and breathing out. And just let your body become super relaxed and into receiving this. You could take a minute or two, and that's fine. It can take 10 minutes or 20 minutes or even half an hour. For the sake of this show that's only 55 minutes, we're going to do these in a little bit more of a sped up version. So feel free to pause this if you want to. Come back to it when you feel like the energy is building in your body. So for me, I can sense the energy is building when my body wants to move and wiggle. And so that's just my sign of like my body has got energy moving. So you might have a different sign. You might yawn. So lots of people yawn. Some people fart. Some people burp. Some people have their hands move a lot. And everybody's different. I wiggle a lot. I have wiggled a lot my whole life. Wiggling feels good. If you're wiggling lots on, you're sitting on your crotch, it can feel good too. It just feels good. So we're gonna wake it up, wake it all up, bring that energy in, taking some deep breaths in and some deep breaths out. So as I'm looking at you guys out there in TV land, for those of you who are on video and for those of you who are on audio only, just have a sense that as my hand is connecting to me, I'm also going to connect my hand to you. So it might look funny on video, it's all good. And I'm just going to send to your heart, to connect with your heart, because to get to the orgasmic place, we need to get to connection first. So connecting to your hearts, your heart centers. We're going to head to our first commercial break, and I'm going to keep sending this to your heart centers as you continue to send to your. So you're listening to the Pleasure Zone here on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Are you secretly a voyeur, wondering what's going on in other people's sex lives? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual evolution? Are you interested in people who are pioneers of different sexual and pleasurable practices? Lean in now with Milica Jelenic, where she will entice you and your body to know your own pleasure zone. On the Pleasure Zone radio show with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Pleasure Zone with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email, info@milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, my sweet pleasure seekers. Tonight we are playing with orgasmic energy, how to gift and receive. So first, in the first segment, we've just been learning how to sense energy, feel the basics of energy, connect to our own hearts first, and then connect to somebody else's heart. So for those of you out there listening or watching, I'm just connecting to all of you. Take some deep breaths in and some deep breaths out. And so as you begin to notice this, as your hand is on there, just ask to receive. You can just do this by asking. Ask to receive the connection from me. You can just say, I'd like to receive the connection from Milica. Or if it's not me and you'd rather receive the connection from somebody else, just ask for who you'd like to receive it from. And we start with that. If you happen to have somebody in the room with you, like a partner, you can absolutely receive from them. So hand on your heart, then you put your hand on their heart as well. So their hand would go on your heart, your hand goes on top, then your hand goes on their heart, their hand goes on top, right? So that you're connecting. This is very, can be very calming. I'm just going to talk while I keep doing this, because sometimes, we're just doing it, and then, I could go silent on air while we're doing it, or we can just tell some stories. So this past week, I had a couple in for a couple session. So I do body work on people and energy work, and I was showing them how to connect with each other. So I was doing a demonstration on the wife, and I was like, okay, so we're just going to do this hand connection, like heart, hand on the heart's connection, breathing, connecting with each other. And we did it for about 3 minutes, and then she was like, whoa, that was intense. And yes, it can be really intense. So if you do have somebody in the room and you are connecting to them, also look at them. And I'd like you to match your breathing with theirs. So one of you can be the leader of the breathing. For this one, I'm going to be the leader of the breathing because I can't see all the thousands of you out there listening. So we're just going to breathe in and out, feet on the ground, connected to the earth, and I'm going to connect to you too. In and out. And as you're breathing, just notice all the tension and stress leaving your body, inviting your body into a place of pleasure and into a place of ease. In and out. Awesome. So you're just going to keep that breathing pattern going. I'm not going to be so loud with it. I'm doing it loud also because I like aggressive breathing. It helps me feel energized. I like that. Some people do really quiet breathing. I find it more effective personally to do really loud breathing, and plus you guys can hear it more on audio. So we're just going to keep that connection to the hand, to the heart. Now we're going to actually move down. So if you happen to be on your own, and so we're going to start this with on your own, you're going to go hand to just below your belly button. So not on your genitals yet. We're moving down to connect our bodies, and we don't have to go for the gold right away. This is kind of like the foreplay, the energetic foreplay of your body, which can actually be way more of an endeavor than what we're doing tonight. I'm giving you guys the very short form version. And if you are interested in longer form versions and would like some teachings on this, some further teachings, definitely connect with me. So we're going to put your hands so that your thumb just sits just at the start of your belly button, like at the bottom of your belly button, and then the rest of your palm will go underneath that, so that your pinky finger will line up almost exactly with your, or it could, depends on your size of your body, will line up with your pubic bone. Okay, and then we're going to be present with this one. So breathing in and out, and in and out. Now, if you happen to have had, different things going on in your life, different traumas, sometimes these things will become very emotional too. So if your body has tears or anything like that, just let it happen. In and out. In and out. And as we connect, just notice any sensations and notice the energy building. Remember, there's that magnetic feeling. So you can even play with distance on this. So imagine that my hand here is the belly for those of you watching, and that you can just play with the magnetics on your belly. Like, how would you like close touch? Would you like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Would you like inches away, centimeters away touch? Come close. Just notice what feels really good to your body. So your body might like touch that's energetic on like a very distance kind of energetics. So some energetics can be such a soft touch, like just a very gentle touch, and that's still energetics. And you can have energetics where it's like feet off of the body and the body will respond. Sometimes playing with that a lot, like as you practice receiving energy and energy work, and as you practice gifting it, then your ability to do this and be able to go off body and have the body move and have the body react and have the body receive in a different way, so that it is experiencing like an orgasmic energy, be a lot easier because you have more experience. Just like anything, first day you walked, you weren't perfect, so keep practicing. So hand on that belly, just below your belly button, and connecting with your body. So doing these things where you're connecting your hand to your body is also a bit like giving blessings to your body. It's giving gratitude. So there's a lot of energies that go on with this. You're also noticing, receiving, so what's going on. So if your body starts to have a reaction, that's very normal. If it doesn't have a reaction, that's also very normal. Breathing in and down. and in and down. And for those of you out there, I'm going to connect to that area of your body too, where my hand will be energetically connected to that part of your, just below your belly button. For those of you who would like to receive it, you will. For those of you who don't, you won't. It's all good. Just for visual effect, I'm going to have my hand in the video so you can see it to sense it, for some of you who need to see it to sense it. And for those of you on audio, just know that the energy is there. It's connecting to your body. With deep breaths in. And out. We're going to start to match our breath again. So I'm going to breathe in and out. And in and out. And now I'm going to put my hand, if you have a partner there, we'll do this again as if you have a partner there. You're going to go with your hand on that area just below their belly button, and your hand goes on top of it so that you're connecting that way as well. It's sometimes convenient to sit in like a lotus position, or like, in other words, so your legs crossed, or you can straddle your lover, legs crossed, and kind of hold each other, sometimes having things to prop you up so that you've got support for your back is really helpful. And then you're just going to hold. So energetic orgasms can feel different than when you're doing penetrative orgasms, where you're doing, you know, all the other orgasms people talk about, the A spot, G spot, clitoral, all of those. This can be a very different experience. So I'm going to have my hand connecting to whoever out there doesn't have a partner to play with this, and then you're going to put your hand over my hand. And for those of you who have a partner to play with, get yourself comfy, connect to that area where your thumb is like on their belly button, just under their belly button in their palm. It's just above their pubic bone, where this part of your pinky finger is lined up with the pubic bone, the edge. And we're going to just connect. And we're going to breathe again. So we're going to breathe, and I'm going to connect to you. You're going to connect to me. And for those of you with partners, connect to each other. Breathing in and out. Just noticing your breath, noticing how your body will shift and relax, and it might move and it might wiggle. And that's cool. Just like move with your body, because your body is going to likely release some energy, as mine is doing. If you're watching the video, I'm sure it looks fascinating. And just let your body move, getting in the groove. So you can see how it looks a little different than other things. And we haven't even gotten down to the genitals yet. We're just moving the energy down, right? So we're just moving the energy down into that belly area, and I'm receiving from you guys, and you're receiving from me. And your body might not move like mine does, so don't feel weird about that. Mine just loves to adjust with energy, so it'll just like move. Hope it's entertaining for you guys. We are going to head to our next commercial break and just continue to receive this as we move through this, and we come back, we're going to move into our next step. All right, so going to just receive that. You're listening to the Pleasure Zone here on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back after this commercial.
Are you secretly a voyeur, wondering what's going on in other people's sex lives? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual evolution? Are you interested in people who are pioneers of different sexual and pleasurable practices? Lean in now with Milica Jelenic, where she will entice you and your body to know your own pleasure zone. On the Pleasure Zone radio show with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Interested in masturbating for money, copulating for consciousness, and pleasuring on purpose? 21 Days of Sexual Magicism with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic is an exploration of tools, processes, and actions that you can use to create more for your life, your body, your money inflows, and so much more. Graduated learning for all levels of interest. Learn at your own pace via video classes or join the yearly live class. Take a peek at www.milicajelenic.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Pleasure Zone with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email, info@milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who are just joining in now, I encourage you to go back to the beginning and listen, as this is a bit of a process, this show. So this is a masterclass in how to connect with your energy and how to connect with other people's energy in order to have an orgasmic energetic experience, which is a little different than maybe the orgasms you've had before, and sometimes it can be even more wildly intense. So we're doing some of the very, very basics today on the show. I may do more of like an advanced one. I didn't realize how long this would take when I'm describing it, so we'll probably do a part 2 of this at some point, so soon. All right, so we're connecting. So for those of you who are with me and you've been listening this whole time, we're connecting to that area just below your belly button, bringing the energy in and coming down, connecting your hand. Right now we're with partner. And if you don't have a partner with you, then you're connecting with me. Connecting with partner. And then your hand goes on top of their hand, right? So one hand goes on your partner's belly area, and then your hand goes on top, and then vice versa. So you each have your hand and then a hand on top of you. And breathing in and out, being really comfortable in your positions, the way that you're sitting. And when you start to feel like that's filling you and it's bringing some energy into your body, just really cool. We're going to move on. You can be with this for as long as you like. You can be in this spot for an hour, 2 hours, or 10 minutes. It's up to you. For the sake of the show, we're going to move on to the next spot. So your hand is going to go, for all of these, you can be naked. I just want to say, I'm on video and it's going out to a lot of places where I can't be naked. So We're not going to be naked on this video, but you can be. So for the sake of this too, I won't be showing you this next one because it's hand on your genitals, and you can do it with your clothes on, clothes off. It's up to you. So hand on the genitals. And so you're just going to get comfy cozy. This is not, you're not like stroking yourself right now or anything like that. You're just holding and being present and breathing in and out. Now this might, for some of you who have ever been, there's ever molestation or sexual violence, this can be an emotional spot. So just be present with it, and be present with it for an extended period of time. And by that I mean like maybe months before you move on to the next part with somebody else, but I'm going to give you the lowdown on how to move on to that with somebody else. So we're just going to connect with that, breathing in deep, being aware of what it feels like to have your hand on your genitals. So this is for everybody. There is no gender requirement on here to identify anyway, because we all have genitals of some kind. So you're bringing in your breath, again through your nose, letting that all of that air move through your body. You can do just your nose if you like on this one too, just like bringing it up. And this time you might notice the breath moves a little different. You might notice the breath moving through your spine as it comes up, circulates. And if you put your tongue at the roof of your mouth, just behind your teeth, and then breathe down. So you're going to bring those energies in. We're going to have them really concentrated in the genitals, and we're going to let that energy move and groove through your body because it's starting to grow and move through. If I go silent for a minute, it's only because I'm in the zone. So just be with me. We haven't dropped. Breathing in deep and out. So one of the purposes to connect to me, one of the purposes to connect to your genitals is so that you become familiar with them and you're the primary person who's aware of them, and that you honor your genitals and whatever happens to them, whatever's showing up for them, whatever touch is going to show up. You're the primary energy that your body's aware of. So if you can hold that, hold your genitals and become very familiar with what it feels like for your own touch. And if it feels weird or if you feel uncomfortable, remember that you can connect with me through milicajelenic.com, and we can talk about this and move through it. The chances are that there's been some kind of trauma of sorts is pretty high, and we can move through that. And if while you're doing it, you get emotional, that's okay. Just let the feelings flow and don't take your hands off. If you start to cry, just let yourself cry it out. So you're going to maybe start to feel a little bit more relaxed in your body, a little bit deeper, a little bit more grounded. You might even notice that the breathing has helped just get your body feel calm. It'll do that. And if your body feels like moving, you just move it. Sometimes as we begin to connect energetically, the bodies will respond and they just start to do things. So just let your body move and groove. So you're connecting with you. And so this doesn't look necessarily like the same as if you were masturbating or something. This is just you connecting. And so as as you start to feel like you're connecting, your body just might do things, and just like let your body move because it just wants to. So we're going to let it happen. And can probably even move out some tension and stress. And if you feel like switching hands from one to the other, there's no correct hand to have on your body. So just move your hand if you need to. And just let that energy move. Usually the last time we did this was all audio, so there was no video to watch, like what bodies sometimes do. So just might feel strange for you guys to watch. I don't know. It's funny. So I hope it's not alarming you. All right, so connecting to those awesome, juicy, sweet genitals, even if there's been like trauma or upset or anything like that, you're blessed with whatever genitals you have. You're so blessed, and just like remember that and just hold that there and just say, I'm so grateful and so blessed to have all of these parts, when you're holding your belly and your heart, and feel that, sense that, so that whatever you choose to do with these, whether you ever have regular sex again or you never have sex again, you're connecting with you, and that's important. As you connect with you, you're connecting with source too. So whether a source for you is God or whether a source for you is the universe, however you want to name it and claim it, you're connecting. So just connect. Whew, good times. So we're gonna be moving on to the next part where I will be holding you. And I'm just gonna cupping your. There's a lot of energies going on. It's fun. So I'm just gonna cup whoever's out there who would like to receive this. I will be cupping and holding and breathing, letting the connection of my energy to connect to your genitals. I'm just going to hold you there and be present with you. When was the last time somebody just held your genitals and had no expectation of anything and was just present with your body? Has that ever happened for you? And if it hasn't, just ask somebody to do that for you. They don't need to stroke you. They don't need to do anything. Just hold. Just be present and breathe with them. As I breathe with you, we're going to breathe in and out. Even though my hand's moving, it's just an energetic movement, so it's still holding. And as I'm holding, I just want to let you know that everything about your body and everything about anything that's ever happened to your body, that's in the past, anything that's happening to your body now, you can choose to do something about it. Anything that your body is sensing, if there's sadness, all of it's valid. Your body is sensing fear, all of it's valid, and we can connect to that and we can move it. We can transmute it and change it. Just be present, and I'm just going to be present with you. I'm just letting you know that every single one of you has perfectly, most amazing genitals, whatever they happen to look like, be like, whether you've had operations or anything like that. Everything about it is perfect. And we're just going to hold that and be a space of kindness, because genitals get so much violence. And as I'm present with you guys, I'm going to keep holding that presence while we'll be heading to our next commercial break. So when we come back, we'll be doing some other things. So just be here with me, be present, feel and sense, if you're willing to, receiving what is it like to have your genitals just held with no obligation, with no purpose, just presence and connection. Breathing in and out. We're going to head to our next commercial break. You're listening to The Pleasure Zone here on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back after this commercial.
Are you secretly a voyeur, wondering what's going on in other people's sex lives? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual evolution? Are you interested in people who are pioneers of different sexual and pleasurable practices? Lean in now with Milica Jelenic, where she will entice you and your body to know your own pleasure zone. On the Pleasure Zone radio show with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Pleasure Zone with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email, info@MilicaJelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, my sweet pleasure seekers. Tonight we're talking about gifting and receiving of energetic orgasms, and we're starting at the very basics, sensing energy and getting connected to our bodies, realizing that this is probably going to be a two-parter. However, we are going to get to the place where our bodies are beginning to sense and feel that orgasmic energy rising, and that you are able to connect with people in person, and you're able to connect with people from a distance. I'll give you a little clue on how to do that part at the very end. So through in person, we've been talking about how to connect with our bodies, how you can connect with the other person's body, and then how you can connect with, so that's part of the receiving, is when somebody else is, you're touching you, and then somebody else touches you, and then you can connect your touch to their touch. So on the holding of genitals, you may hold them, like cup them, and then you'll cup the other person's genitals, and then they might have their hand resting on top, so that you're connecting your hands to their hands. You can do this sitting down as well, where you just kind of slip your hand into their genitals when you're sitting up, and vice versa, the other hand, and then you're touching. And breathing in. So I'm going to go back to the connection. We're going to breathe in, have the hand connected. So my hand, if you don't have a partner to do with this, my hand will connect on top of your hand. Well, my hand will go under yours. It depends on what you prefer. We're just going to do some deep breathing to connect and feel any emotion, whether it's sadness, anger, fear, rage, shame, guilt, all of these things that we hold in our genitals. There's so many of them. It's mind-boggling what we hold and store in our genitals. We're just going to connect to each other and be present with whatever emotion comes up. It's not about solving a problem. It's just about being present. You can look in your lover's eyes while you're doing this and just connect with them. And to skip forward a bit, you can keep doing that for as long as you like. Put this on pause, keep going if you like. And then you can connect one hand of yours to their heart and one hand to their genitals. So one hand can go like this on your chest and the other one holding their genitals, and they would do the same to you, so your hands can cross. You can use whatever hand you like. Some people have rules about that. I don't. Be comfortable. So holding, And then breathing. So you're connecting the heart to the genitals, and you're just going to bring this energy up to create that. So if your lover is with you, look them in the eye. If your lover's not with you, I bet you've looked them in the eye. So you can actually have the sense of their presence in front of you. And as you breathe in and you have the image of them get stronger and stronger, like a visualization, and you sense them and the presence in front of you. If they're from a distance, then you can also connect to their heart. Just like you're sending energy, if you've ever done energy work, you're going to connect to that area just below their belly button. And then you're going to connect with their genitals. So with this, I encourage you to actually ask permission first. Because even though you think that you're doing it and it's just, oh, this is nothing, do you ask permission or give a note, hey, can I practice this on you? And they're like, yeah, whenever you like. Just say, okay, I'll warn you, just in case the person's driving and all of a sudden they start to feel a lot of shift and change and orgasmic energy rising. So the more we do this, the more we can connect. Connection is super orgasmic. Think about this. In order to actually create life, there is a connection that's required, even if it's in vitro. There's a connection that's required. And that connection came through orgasmic energy, even if there was a sperm donor involved or what, there was always somebody had an orgasm. So we're utilizing this amazing energy that can be healing, it can be restorative, it can be creative, it can be so many things. And we're utilizing it to connect with each other. We're utilizing it to connect to other things. And I could go on, there's a lot of things you can do with this, but we need to start on the basics, right? So part one of energetic orgasms is learning to connect. And the more you play with this, the more you might start to notice that the energy does build. Maybe your genitals do throb. Maybe there is arousal going on. Maybe parts of your body are peaking and perking up. Maybe your body feels like it's being caressed by your lover, even if they're not there. Maybe your body feels like it would love to be caressed by a body that you don't even know or can't see, or maybe there's a lover out there for you that you haven't met yet or seen yet, and you feel like a connection. And the cool thing is sometimes when that happens and you feel that connection, then when you meet them, you know what that is. You recognize it. It's familiar energy. And we're just going to sit here and have this moment of connecting to each other, me to all of you, to all of your hearts, to all of your lower dantians, that area below your belly button, to all of your genitals, connection to your root chakra, getting you grounded, getting you connected to all of life. Breathing that in deep. Letting your body move and groove to whatever it wants to do, to release and receive. And if your body, the more you practice this, your body might actually start to get in that rhythm, like a wave. It's like an orgasmic wave that comes through the body, where your body might feel like it's moving and heaving. And we can absolutely do more with these things with bodies as well, where you can have bodies on tables that will move and heave. In the bedroom, you can play with this in so many ways. Always start with the connection to the body first, connecting to your breathing, connecting to your lover's breathing, so that you can start with that. And then you can always advance into other things as well. But so many of us have had such violent things happen to our bodies that we don't even remember the need to connect to our own genitals, to our own hearts, to our own anything. So we just disconnect. And the key is to remember that connection is important. Communication is important, to be able to ask permission. Also noticing in your body what's going on and how your body's reacting, if memories are coming up or anything's coming up, letting that move through. So I hope that for everybody listening out there, that you receive something out of this.
Thank you for listening to The Pleasure Zone with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic. The Pleasure Zone returns next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.